Spring 2015 was a weird year in my life. It was one of the first times that it was during the time that I was my comic book interest was at its peak, and I had more indisposable income and less responsibilities than, I was at that perfect balance, I guess you would say, for blowing money on new hobbies and ideas, and I was desperate to find any comic book media I could partake in that wasn't just comic books, and I found a podcast called Comic Vine, and on one of the episodes, a host who ended up not being a host for very much longer, just because he got busy, talked about a book called Howard the Duck Issue 1. Howard the Duck, of course, is a character. I have it right here. I own this in floppies. I own the first arc in floppies. It is a character that has a interesting past, ranging from a very bad movie I think that George Lucas directed to, I know he ran for president in the comic books at different times. But Howard the Duck, this book was pitched to me as just something that was going to be kind of funny and fun, and I wanted to talk about it and maybe kind of go issue by issue of it. This book is the only time I've ever seen humor consistently pay off in a comic. I know that there are funny comic books, and I've seen books that have jokes in them and have made me laugh, but Howard the Duck is smart and clever and very interesting, while giving you a story that you kind of seen, or I guess a setup for a story that you've seen a lot of times, but doing it in a new and interesting way. Sort of. I guess just with different characters than you're used to. Howard the Duck, in this specific story, is a private eye who keeps having run-ins with the law because he's breaking laws trying to chase down the occasional thief, some insurance fraud kind of things. Howard really has no direction in life. He got bored of all the other things he was trying to do, and is trying to kind of just make ends meet by being an investigator. We get a lot of fun scenes, but more importantly, I think that just the character of Howard the Duck is really interesting. He's a very, think Frank Sinatra feeling character who's like that time frame and that kind of demeanor, and occasionally he talks like that. He has a few older ideas. He calls a lot of women doll, and it's played for not doll like, and it's played for laughs, like all these women like getting very upset about him and him kind of not knowing how to react like that. It's very much a man out of time story, sort of like you would think that like Captain America might experience, but with this duck in his, you would think like 50s or 60s, he kind of just grumpy, trying to get through life, and is stuck in a world. The tagline is Howard the Duck, trapped in a world he's grown accustomed to. And it's just about a grumpy old man who, instead of an old man, it's a duck who's trying to be a private eye and make ends meet. It's really silly and fun. In this first issue, it starts out in media res of him kind of being trapped in some kind of space cage, looking at an alien, and then it kind of cuts to him in prison. He's in a cage again, and as Howard's in prison, he gets released. He's in the women's holding cell because one of the men in the holding cell was allergic to ducks, so he has to send the women's, and he kind of befriends this tattoo artist named Tara, and they kind of just brush paths, and then Howard goes and gets his first case of trying to retrieve this amulet, and has a run-in with his lawyer, who is She-Hulk, who, people who don't know, She-Hulk's a lawyer, and it's fun, and they have a few back and forth, and just, he's such a miserable old man who makes everyone kind of miserable around him, and the only person we see in the whole book who actually doesn't dislike this dude is Tara. And Black Cat's the person who stole the thing that he's looking for, this necklace, and he steals the Rolodex contact card for Peter from She-Hulk and sets up a meeting with him in which he is taken away. Essentially, he acts like it's the Avengers calling. They have a big case for him, and Peter gets really bummed out just at the idea that nobody needs him, and he gets really sad and refuses to help, and come to find out that Tara knows where Black Cat lives, and they team up and they go on a mission together, to only have at the end of the mission, as they're stealing the amulet back from Black Cat, one of the collector's goons, like robot goons, essentially takes Howard and throws him in his own secret prison because he's the one of the kind in their dimension. This book I'm cutting it really down, super simple. This book is far more fun than I can put into words. The art works very well. It's written by Chip Zdarsky, and Joe Quinones is the artist. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong and butchering his name, but it's a book that hit me at a very good time, and it's very fun. A lot of comic books try to be very dark and gritty and deal with all these things, and claim that they're for kids. This is an all-ages book where it's very fun and silly and lighthearted, but you can also read it as an adult, and it's fun. Read it, kids can read it, it's appropriate. This is a very fun book. And I know I've heard people not like the word fun used to describe this kind of thing, but it's just fun. It's a blast. I can't sing the praise of this book enough, and I cannot describe to you specifically at least how much I enjoyed this. So if anybody out there watching this video, if you just the opportunity that maybe you possibly would enjoy this book half as much as I did, and I got you to read it because of this video, that is worth it to me, because I love this book that much. I talk to my brother, I talk to Michael about this all the time, and I sing this book's praises, and maybe I can get him to read it. But it's so fun, so if you want to check it out, do so. I'm sure it's out in volumes. If it's not, it is the Howard the Duck issue 1 it came out in springtime. I don't remember the exact dates, in 2015. While you're over here on the YouTube channel, though, watching this video, if you haven't already subscribed and you kind of like the brand of things that are in the WackMatter logo, of whether it be comedy, wrestling, superheroes, or music, or TV, or kind of anything, you can feel free to do that. If you are already subscribed and you really like this stuff, but you don't always know when we post, we don't have super regular schedules set up yet, hit that notification bell. And again, if you just like the video, feel free to leave a like. We really appreciate it. That's going to be me signing off.